Hey YouTube, it's Cheese Factory, and here is the Crystal Beast deck profile that has been multiply requested, I guess. So Crystal Beasts are hard, they're almost dead, and they're really hard to play with, but they're very competitive. In a weird way, in that they're incredibly... With a decent opening hand, you can do great, and a great opening hand isn't that much better than a decent opening hand. So they aren't one of the decks where you open beautifully and you automatically win the game. They're more like, if you open decently, you start off really well, but if you open poorly, then you're dead, totally. If you open with like a bunch of dead spells, stuff like that, you're probably going to lose, and there's probably nothing you can do about it. So they're kind of hard to balance there. And then the other thing about them is they have two builds. One of them is where you run Rainbow Dragon because you really love it, and it's fun, and it's not necessarily as competitive. And the other is where you maybe run Malefic Cyber End if you want the 4K beater. And that's usually a better build, but I really enjoy the Rainbow Dragon build, so that's what this is, just because it's fun. So I'm running double Mammoth, triple Tiger, triple Pegasus, one Cat, one Turtle, one Eagle, and double Ruby Carbuncle. So I'm only running one of the three that are terrible, and two Rubies, and then two Mammoths. Mammoths is decent, and then Tiger you want three of because it gets over everything in the game that's good at 1900, and then Pegasus you want three because it's the Crystal Beast that's actually good. I haven't experimented with anything. I don't know if any of these are Beast Warriors. I don't think there are. So you can't. I thought one of these might be, but alas not. So you can't tanky it. Anyway, triple Birdman. I really like Birdman. You can do synchro plays, which I forgot to add into the extra deck. That's okay. But a really nice thing. The real reason you run him is because you can bounce Sapphire Pegasus and resummon it next turn and continually Pegasus for milling your back, or not really milling, but filling your spell trap zone. Anyway, two Rainbow Dragons. You don't want three because it gets super cloggy. And if you run two, then by the time you draw it, you should be able to summon it, and the chances of opening with both are really low. So it's pretty safe. Then triple Rainbow Ruin and double Terraforming. This is one of the decks you could consider running three Terraforming because the field spell is one of the best spells in the game. But I'm running two Duality, so I'm not that worried about getting into it. Then double Abundance for the OTK, and double Crystal Beacon, because this is usually how you get your play started. You do a lot of milling with Pegasus, and then Beacon for Carbuncle, and then fill your field, and we recycle off Rainbow Ruins. Two Crystal Promise. This is great early game. You can do Summon Pegasus, ST a Pegasus, promise that Pegasus to ST anything else, and so far you've ST'd like two cards or something, so then you could tree for two more, and you end up with like two monsters on the field and three in your spell trap zone. So you're already completely full. It's pretty nice. Double Crystal Release. On Topaz Tiger, it's 2800, so it can get over cards like Garunix, or like Strike Bouncer, or anything. So it's pretty good. I like it, and it, of course, sends stuff to your spell trap zone. Two Crystal Trees. A lot of people don't like this, but I just love it if you open Pegasus Tree. It's such a good opening hand. So it's kind of worth it. And then the Mysticals, Dark Hole, and Reborn. No Heavy Storm, of course, because it screws the deck over like hell. Which kind of sucks, but yeah. And then my extra deck right now, I just have the 5 rank 3s, and then a bunch of rank 4s that are all pretty good. Chidori is also amazing. You could run him in this deck because of Pegasus. And also Cobalt Eagle. And then I'm running Gustav Max just because it's really hilarious to have double Rainbow Dragon, do a bunch of attacking, and then Gustav burn game. And then the other stuff you should run is Ancient Fairy Dragon, because it can search your field spell. And then Ancient Fiery Dragon, which isn't released yet. I think it might be released in Judgment of Light, but I don't know. Anyway, it's ridiculously insane. It's one of the best synchros in the game. But it only works in field spell decks, which this is. And it only works in decks that can 6-7, which this deck can't. Basically, if a field spell is activated during your turn, draw a card. Yeah, free drawing, and Rainbow Ruins already draws that. Draws a bunch, it's insane. And in addition, once per turn, while there is a field spell on the field, you can destroy a monster. plus his 3k defense. It's insanely good. At plus 2s every turn. It's so broken. Anyway, you also want to be running Ancient Fairy Dragon. And then Scrap Archfiend is another really good one. It's a 2700, even though it's only level 7. And then Gaia Knight. And that's pretty much it. Generally, when you do your Birdman plays, if you want to do anything with it, you'll be XYZing with it, with the other rank 3s. How the deck actually plays is you fill your spell trap zone as fast as you can, and then you use Rainbow Ruins to just constantly summon back Carbuncle, summon back your Pegasi, summon back all this stuff, and you just fill the field multiple times over and over. And then if you want, in one of these plays, you can go into an XYZ chain and fill the field with those. But you have to be careful with that, because if you do, you can't do it again. Because one of the big strengths of this deck is that if they kill your whole field, you can just summon it back next turn. So you want to be careful doing the XYZs because it stops you from doing that. You could think about running Avarice as an additional tech in order to get your Crystal Beast back into your deck, so that the next time you do your Sapphire Pegasus plays again, you can constantly refill your spell trap zones. But if you do that, you don't want to run Rainbow Dragon, and this is a Rainbow Dragon deck, so I'm not running Pot of Avarice. I would recommend running the Cyber End Dragon build, because Cyber End Dragon is insanely good. It's a 4k beater, summons at no cost, and your field spell can't die, so it's pretty safe. I would recommend that. It's really, really, really good. This deck is slightly less competitive, but it's still really, really, really good. And it's very fun. It's one of those decks where you'll kind of be annoyed a lot of the time when you get bad hands, or if you open like with 2 Abundance and a Rainbow Ruins and a Crystal Tree and an MST, and you're just like, wow, nothing I can do with this hand. Because there are hands in this deck that will do that. But overall, the deck is pretty darn consistent and pretty safe. I'd recommend it. It's fun. So that's all for this video, and that will be Cheese Factory signing out.